Hello everyone, welcome to Simulation. I'm your host Alan Sakian. Today we're actually sitting down at the Silicon Valley Robotics Regional for First Robotics, and we're sitting down with Team 3132 Thunder Down Under with Jaye and Sarah Heimlich. Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for coming and doing a little conversation while we're all here.
It's our pleasure.
This is good. All right, so you guys won the Chairman's Award at Worlds last year, at the championship. So that requires a team to basically be the best team in the world in order to win that award, which is amazing. And you have set up such... So First Robotics inspires young people from the ages of 6 until 18 to design and engineer robots to complete objectives on playing fields, but also to do things like make business plans, build teamwork, leverage things like emotional intelligence with other people on the team. It really builds a great foundation for moving forward into the world. And so that's, how many kids? Is it like 500,000 kids around the world or something? Like
At
that?
least.
Like
It's
that.
huge.
Over 600 teams.
Across the world. And that's just
Well, that's in
robotics.
Australia for First Lego League. That's just one
Oh.
of our
No,
programs.
no, FRC.
For
It's over
FRC, 600 teams.
It's over 3,000. So
Oh,
close
is
to
it?
4,000. Yes.
I was thinking at Worlds.
Yeah, at Worlds,
At Worlds
there are 600 teams across the globe. There's about 4,000.
4,000 of
FRC
these
teams.
high-level competition teams, because
Yeah.
the competition field for this higher level, like First Robotics, is competition is somewhere around the size of probably like half a basketball court,
Yeah.
basically in size. So the robots are what is it? Is it like three feet by 3 feet, or what's the
It's about 2 feet by 4 feet.
2 feet by 4 feet? Okay.
Yeah.
And so then you guys ended up. So let's talk about kind of like, you're from Australia. The team's from Sydney.
That's correct. Well, sort of correct. We're actually not from Australia, as you probably can tell by our accents. We're both American. We've lived there for nearly a decade. So the way it kind of all got started was actually when I was -4 months old, so quite a while ago.
Inside mom.
Inside Mom, and First was founded in New Hampshire in the United States, which is where I was born. And my mom actually was mentoring one of the first teams, so it was only about 5 years into the whole First Robotics program. And my mom's mentoring this team. She's very pregnant, and she had a great time. So fast forward about 8 years, when I was old enough to actually get involved and do First Lego League. We started there in New Hampshire, and then when I was in my sophomore year of high school, we moved from New Hampshire to Australia, and my one requirement for moving was that we had to have a First Robotics competition team for me to join. I've been doing it for 2 years, absolutely fell in love with the program. And so at that point, my parents said, sure. First at the time was in about 50 countries, but what they didn't realize is that meant that the lower level program was in 50 countries.
Yeah.
The higher level program was in about 4, and there were no teams in Australia. In fact, the closest team was very close. It was only 8 hours via plane to Honolulu, Hawaii. And we decided that probably wasn't going to work out so well. So my parents, being the incredible people that they are, decided to found the team. They got where my dad was working, Macquarie Uni, on board as one of our first sponsors. That's where we actually set up the team. They got on BA Systems and Altium, and we raised enough money. And we not only had the team, we also took them back to New Hampshire for our first competition, because obviously there were none in Australia as the only team. When we got there, there were about 20 FLL teams in the entire country. That was it for First, so the lower level, only 20 teams there. Today, we have nearly 1,000 teams across the country, and it's growing like crazy.
That was 10 years of involvement.
9, yeah.
Okay, that's huge. That's
Yes.
a massive increase. And how many of the higher level First Robotics competition teams are there?
There's 52.
52 from 0.
Yes.
Yep.
Whoa. Okay,
So-
so you have your own regional now.
Oh, 2 of them.
You have 2 regionals. One in Sydney. Where's the other one?
Still in Sydney.
Both are in Sydney, but just at for like week 1, week 6, something like that.
Actually, they're both in week 1.
Oh, pretty okay.
This year, one was at the start of the week, and one was at the end of the week, which proved for not a lot of sleep.
Yeah.
We had 2 days in between. The year before, we did them totally back to back, so it was 3 days for the first one and then 3 days for the second one, 6 days straight of
Whoa.
just insane competition. This year, we were able to get the venue a little bit longer, but not that much longer, so we had the 2-day break, which was very much appreciated. I enjoyed the sleep-ins.
This is amazing. The last about 10 years or so has been crazy growth for your team and for the country. And that's a lot of thanks to, your mom being a mentor, falling in love with it, and you guys both falling in love with it. So you won Chairman's, and one of the reasons why you won it was because of the Compass Alliance, you would say, then all the different programs that you've put together.
Yeah, so probably not the Compass Alliance. We've actually founded that since we won. But there's
Since we won.
Yes.
Okay, whoa.
We don't believe in slowing down. We're, if anything, speeding up.
We really took winning the Chairman's Award as an opportunity to do more, and that's really one of the reasons why we wanted to win it, was because we're in Australia. There are a lot of disadvantages to that, and we wanted to use what advantages we could get from the Chairman's Award to fuel whatever we wanted to do afterwards, like the Compass Alliance.
So the Compass Alliance is a consortium. Well, it started off as a consortium of 10 teams.
Can I ask, we back up, what do you think led you to win Chairman's then first?
Oh, right. We...
How much time is your this episode?
question.
Hopefully you don't get called. I need to go and...
We do a lot of programs, and I think it's a mix of all of them. One of our biggest strengths is being international. As much as I said before, that is a disadvantage, it's also a very big advantage. Because we have so many connections to all these other nations that America doesn't really have, because America is so big. And there's so many people in America, and you can just do the things that we do inside of America. But we needed to reach out a lot. And so one of the programs that we have is Mentors Without Borders. And that is a program for other teams where we send our mentors to other teams and we help them to get started, or if they're already a team, we help them to get their robot going, and we send them to other countries. Like, we've sent people to Poland, we've sent people to China, and it's a really cool experience.
Yeah.
In fact, one of the teams that's here, 4091 Team Drift, they were the first team in the Dominican Republic. We sent our lead mentor to them their rookie season for the first week of build season. In total, our team has traveled enough to circle the globe 10 times. So we just go everywhere. But I think it's bigger than just the Mentors Without Borders program.
What else? Yeah, tell us more.
So one of the things that the judges said when we won was that this team has changed our paradigm. And I think that goes really to the heart of our team. Our team mission statement is STEM for everyone, everywhere. And we take that incredibly seriously, and bringing first to not just the schools that can afford it, but bringing it really to the schools that can't afford it more than anything else.
And help empower those young kids to find STEM. And
Absolutely. So we started a program where we take it into the most rural and remote towns you can imagine. We have a first team in a town of 120 people.
And we actually went there the first year that we had the program that does this. And there's one high school with kids. It is supposed to be from K to 12, but they had kids in year 5, year 10, and year 12.
Because that's all the kids they have.
That's all the kids they have. And then they came to the regional that year, and they competed, and it was really cool for them and for us to see how passionate they were about it, because they don't have much. They don't have anything. And
that was
STEM
once we
for
got
everyone, everywhere.
Yeah.
Cool. When do you think that tagline formed?
Oh, I can't remember exactly when it formed. It formed in kind of two ways. So from the very beginning of our team mission statement was it started off as STEM for everyone. And this one year we were working on our chairman's submission, and we were really struggling with how to synthesize everything we had told the judges. And we were sitting there and just closing our eyes and listening to the kids do this presentation, because you have to do a presentation for it, and just thinking about everything we had done, and all of a sudden it just came just out of the blue. The words flew out, almost STEM for everyone, everywhere.
That's 100% going to be the title of this video.
And from that point in time onward, that just became everything. And that was probably about 5 years ago at this point, and that just became the driving force. It really, it had always been there, but then all of a sudden it just became so clear and so concise, and everyone everywhere was what we became about, and it became every handout, every speech, anything our team did had everyone everywhere. And I think one of the coolest moments for us was about 3 years into this everyone everywhere journey that we took. the founder of the program at Championships stood up on stage and he said, first is about going to everyone, everywhere. And our whole team goes, whoa. And do I think that we put those words in his mouth? Absolutely not. But I do think it was, we were changing the way first looked at it and the way other first teams looked at it, that it wasn't just for the rich all-boys private schools all of a sudden. It was for the towns of 120. It was for the girls. We have a program for women. It was for, going to 11 different countries and starting FRC there. It was about everyone, and that's how we're going to make a real difference in the world, not just rich all-boys schools.
Yes, and you have Mentors Without Borders, and you're going to the, you have an all-girls program. You're now going into more rural cities and bringing it there. You have been for a while. All right, so we did that first chunk, which was about your journey, and now we're talking about, let's talk about the Compass Alliance. This is fascinating. This has come into existence about the last 2 years or the year?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not even 6 months.
6 months. So it's basically the best teams. You inspired the other teams to work with you. The other best teams that have also won the Chairman's Award at Champs. Well, 971 has and 254 has.
No, they've won the robot game at Championships before. None of the teams that we're working with have won the Chairman's Award at Championships. There are a couple of them.
No, those two haven't?
No. Well, 254 has, but they're not in the Compass Alliance.
They're not?
They're one of the founding teams.
Okay.
So they're not one of the founding teams. There are 10 founding teams. That's
of the Compass Alliance.
Of Alliance.
Okay.
But then we also have Alliance partners. So 254 is an Alliance partner, but they're not actually a founding member. The only founding members here are 971 and ourselves.
Okay, and 971 has won Chairman's, haven't they?
No.
Oh, they haven't?
They have a regional Chairman's Award, but not a championship.
Oh, because it was the high rollers that won the year before you?
Yes.
Right? Okay. All right, so...
987, not 971.
987, yeah, okay. All right, so the Compass Alliance, the two founding members are here, you and 971.
Yep.
And so there's a bunch of different things that you do here. There's this 24/7 call around the clock. Anyone from around the world can call in, and if you're sleeping in the U.S., someone in Australia will pick up the phone. If you're sleeping in Australia, someone in the U.S. will pick up the phone, or in Europe or in Asia. And so that's amazing to pick up and help. You have this massive list of all of ways that people getting started with FIRST can leverage the materials that you've put together to best understand how to design and engineer robots.
Yep.
There's accessibility for within city. If you need a field or if you need somebody to help out, you can really quickly get in touch. You can definitely explain it better, but I love this kind of stuff. This is what I've been talking about for so long. FIRST can put together materials like this, resources like this. That's the real creative genius that comes from young kids from this program.
Yeah, it's been an amazing thing to be a part of, working with the other 9 teams. Like, the other teams we could only have dreamed of working with, even 2 years ago, and now to come together on this project. And it's really a community within the 10 teams, especially the founding teams, and just this notion of we want to come together to do what we can to make the community better. And the way we came up with that is this one-stop shop, because there are so many resources. There are too many resources. And as a younger team, you don't know where to turn.
Yes.
You don't know what's good, what's bad, what's indifferent. And so we wanted to create one place where they're collated, they're easy to find, they're indexed, they're searchable, like you can just get what you need very quickly. But then also, if those resources aren't enough, you can just live chat with someone right then and there, and they will respond immediately, right? If you need a little more help than just that chat one-off, we can get you what we call a tag team, a virtual mentor team. If you need a machine shop or a field in your area, we've got a list of ones that are open and available with contact information. And so as we pulled in more teams,
and like this is for you have ones available in Turkey and you have ones available in China that they told you that these are the locations and you put them into the web. Whoa.
And as this started coming out, and it immediately took off within the community, which was amazing. We had 2 teams step forward, a team in Turkey and a team in Mexico, and so now it's actually available in 3 languages. And these teams maintain it in their language, so anytime we put up a new resource, they immediately translate it, and I get an email the next day, by the way, the resource is now up in Spanish, and it's like, oh, cool, we have Spanish resources now. So
And they all of the resources translated into another language.
Not all of them yet. We're
Yeah.
working on it, but as we add more,
Wow.
they're getting there. And I imagine this off season
Yes.
we'll get 100% translation in those 3 languages. We'll-
Spanish, Mandarin was the other one?
no, Spanish,
Turkish.
and English. Obviously,
Yeah, yeah.
we're working on adding Mandarin and probably Hebrew this off season.
Whoa.
The site's
Oh,
in
that's
6
so-
months has
so
gotten to the
cool.
point that our infrastructure can't really support it. So we're gonna have to like.
On one domain.
Oh, well, we're using Wix.
You're using Wix,
just
sorry.
for something quick and dirty,
Yeah.
just to throw something together to see how this
We're gonna
went.
build it from scratch.
We're gonna have to, and so now we're looking for web developers. But I think the coolest thing was, we started as 10 teams, and it's just grown from there. We now have 50 involved through our Alliance Partner Program, whether it be through the call center, or they're a tag
Yes,
team, or
yes.
they've opened their machine shop. Many teams are Alliance Partners in multiple ways. So just getting to see that from, an initial call of, okay, who is everyone, to today, a trusted resource in the community in 6 short months has just been unreal to be a part of.
And I think one of the other reasons that we created the Compass Alliance is the fact that we really wanted to do big things. And as 3132, that was one of our things that we did. We wanted to go bigger, do more.
Yes.
But you reach a limit where you can't do that just by yourself.
Yeah.
And so we gathered up these great teams who wanted to do it, who wanted to do more and go bigger and do really cool things. And I think that really inspired us, because it's really cool to know that there are people out there who really want they have the initiative to do that. And we thought we should start in the first community because that's where we started, and then we're just going to go bigger and bigger as time goes on.
Yeah, I think the other cool thing about it is the benefit to the students. So normally you have your team's mentors, and they have a certain mentoring style. But because of the way this group has come together, a lot of the times, like, our kids are being mentored by someone from 125,
Yeah.
or I might
Yeah.
mentor a kid from Citrus Circuits. Like, it just becomes this even bigger community where we end up
Yeah.
mentoring each other's kids, and they get so much of a bigger perspective.
And sometimes they work at different hours. Sometimes they're not available because they're already having your mentor might be at work or wherever they're at doing something else, and you need a mentor at that moment.
Yeah.
It's opening up a whole new way for kids to get the opportunity to design and engineer the robots, and also to work with people around the world. You get to learn about what it's like for somebody that lives in Turkey or Israel or South America or wherever they're from. And
I think that the week before launch, we were working on the website literally 24/7 because we are from around the world, and so it was just okay, 125 is working from this time to this time, and 503 is going to edit from here to here, and then 3132 is going to take over, and it just became this really fun, like, you'd hand off and you say, this is what I've done, and this is what needs doing, and we had docs going, and I mean,
yes.
that's what happens in the real world these days, right?
Yeah,
I've worked at global companies, and that's what happens. And so for these
Yep.
kids to experience it when they're 15, 16, 17,
You got it. Yeah.
they're going to be so well prepared when they get to the workforce, and they are doing shifts and handing over
Yep.
to people in other time zones because they've done it, and
Yes.
they've done it well.
Such a good transition in, and then also the other teams that get to join the Compass Alliance, they get to say that we're dedicating our hours to helping teams around the world. So it becomes another kind of like one of the first connect or inspire. Okay, so as we talk a little bit about other countries around the world, I want to ask to get a perspective from not only from having lived in Australia. You have lived in Australia since almost you were younger, so 6 then?
Yes.
Yeah. And so, and for the last 10 years or so for you, Sarah, so the world is moving towards globalization. So countries around the world are starting to work more together politically, economically, and there's a lot of in the last 2 years there's been a big push for this whole nationalism movement in the United States. I'll focus on the U.S., make sure the U.S. is getting really great deals and they're not getting screwed by China and all this other kind of stuff. So it's very interesting to see how the world is working in this sense. And it's really good because we get so many perspectives from people that have either started companies in Silicon Valley or whatever industries they're in. And it's good to maybe hear from the perspectives of someone that's younger and thinks in maybe a different generational way. So what do you guys think about globalization?
Wow.
Good question.
question.
So I think, our overall perspective, it goes back to what we talked about earlier, STEM for everyone, everywhere. And I think that extends beyond just STEM. I think it extends to everything, The thing that binds us together is our shared humanity.
Yes.
And that is bigger than any passport you can carry. I think we're probably a little bit biased. We're dual citizens now,
Yeah.
so we carry 2 passports. And I think that really changes your perspective on the world. Through the first program, we've worked in schools that are 50% refugee and 97% English as a second language. And these kids are just kids. Like, I don't know how else to explain it besides they're just kids.
Yeah.
And they're no different than kids here. And I mean, they've had the roughest go at life that's imaginable. In Australia, there's a saying, we want to give everyone a fair go.
Yeah.
And these kids
Yeah.
have not had a fair go
Yeah.
at life. And so I think
There's lots of things like micronutrient deficiency that's occurring for 2 billion people in the world.
And how does that not move you? Like,
Yeah.
as a human being, how does it not move you to hear
fair
these?
go. A fair go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
They all need a fair go. And, absolutely, there's bad stuff going on in the world. And we need to recognize that. And we need to fight injustice. And that comes in all sorts of forms. And
I think in terms of fighting injustice, first does that. And one of the sayings my mom has always said is, first is going to stop a war. And
Yeah.
honestly, I can see it happening because at one of the events that we had a Chinese team and we had a Taiwanese team. And I don't know if you know, but there's pretty big rivalry between the two. And they played on an alliance together.
in fact, the
picked
Chinese
each
team
other.
picked the Taiwanese team.
Whoa.
Yeah, and they didn't even talk about anything that was going on in their countries. They didn't even mention it. They were just having a good time.